Let's talk about Skip Bayless right now and how his life has been affected. Shannon Sharpe is no more on Undisputed. So let's talk about how he says Shannon and I were kind of a married couple. So we saw it all come to an end last week on Undisputed. The end of a marriage, as Skip Bayless likes to say. Here's his quote. He said, in a way, Shannon and I were kind of a married couple on TV. I did not watch a single game of any sport of any magnitude for 7 years without thinking about what Shannon was thinking about the outcome of said game and how that outcome would impact tomorrow's Undisputed. You know what? That is real. That's one thing I don't think that the fans understand, how it's a mind play once you become someone in sports media that has an audience, because not only are you watching the game, like literally as most fans, just, hey, who's going to win and lose? And I said most fans, because some fans don't care who win or lose. They just care how their fantasy team looks, right? So then you got those who want a winner and a loser. Then you got somebody who want to win some money and hopefully doesn't lose money. And then you got guys like Skip Bayless. When you're watching the game, you're not just looking at what's occurring. You're looking at how to frame that and put that in a question form, or how do you can make that a debate, a conversation, an argument, something that was a 50-50 moment. You're like, yes, because I know it's going to be polarizing. You also look at the game from a perspective of a journalist who is like, let me get more of the what, the how, the why of it, not just the when and where. When and where are kind of like the basic things. When they playing at 1 o'clock, where? That's so far. Okay, duh. My son knows that. But what is really going on there? Why did he just do that? And that's what Skip Bayless is talking about. He had that type of relationship in mind play when doing the show with Shannon Sharpe. So like many marriages, we know there seems to be some ups and downs as well, some arguments over and over again. My wife is right there in the hotel. And at the same time, I look forward to a few days of us hopefully not having a little bit of a disagreement. We don't have arguments anymore because you get to a place where you know y'all gonna rebound. Why we don't argue is because we know we're gonna make up. So why go through the process of all the negativity and emotion? Doesn't mean we don't have bad energy at times. Doesn't mean some of these comments aren't flattering, right? But an argument, you, 30 minutes later, man, stop. That's when we were dating in younger marriage, when we were young. Now we just like, all right. And I hate when our energy off, because boy, that's like this, the show is not the same. And let's talk about how this show changed because of some of that bad energy. So they talked about their energy and the way that they approach topics. And one of the biggest advantages Shannon brought to FS1, Skip said, was he truly, genuinely, authentically loves LeBron James. He said he honestly and completely and wholeheartedly believes LeBron is the GOAT, eclipsing even Michael Jordan. That, of course, is insane. LeBron is obviously nothing more than the phony GOAT, but because Shannon so believed that LeBron was the best ever, he and I had TV gold. Dap, 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 dap. Okay. I agree with Shannon. First of all, I think that LeBron James, all things considered, is the GOAT. Not here for that argument. I am not Undisputed. But at the same time, I noticed something about him saying that. Like even Skip Bayless, think about how masterful Skip Bayless is in his craft. He just lost his partner. Now he's talking about how close him and his partner were, how it affected him and how he changed his perspective in watching games. Then in giving his partner props, identifying who his partner was still in masterful Skip Bayless doing his job role. Couldn't even admit while saying Shannon thought that LeBron was the GOAT. And then he counters with he's the phony GOAT. Like in an interview, which has nothing to do with Undisputed in terms of the ratings and the show and that battle that they got to engage in. He still is going to his death, not only believing something, but articulating it because he's still trying to do the show. That is a true masterful showman right there, Skip Bayless. That's next level. But because Shannon so believed that LeBron was the best ever, him and Skip, he felt had TV gold. The other advantage was with Shannon was that, like most people who don't need metallic blue, as I do, he absolutely despises all things Dallas Cowboys. Once again, we had an extremely natural disagreement. I have no objectivity and sometimes no sense when it comes to my Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to miss my Cowboys displays with Shannon. Y'all caught that? So the main ingredients of the show is pretty obvious, as we all saw. And at sometimes we said to nauseum that y'all talking about LeBron, y'all talking about the Cowboys. Well, they had a natural disagreement there. And let's talk about that, because a lot of these shows, we have to craft a disagreement. People always ask, man, they force y'all to argue? No. What you got to do is exhaust all of the natural disagreements. Shannon and Skip with LeBron, Shannon and Skip with the Cowboys. Naturally, I just don't believe what you're going to say. Like, Acho and I had a natural disagreement. He didn't think KD was as good as I did. Like, naturally. I was like, KD top 10, what are you talking about? And for him, it was like, ugh. And then that was a natural disagreement. Baker Mayfield, I was like, he ain't going to ever get it right, dog. Yes, he is. Natural disagreement. So sometimes it's just built in there. Therefore, you just tend to see those shows always gravitate towards that. But there are some times where it gets down the list. Like, I really don't care that much, but I can argue that. That's when you guys start taking notice. And that's when you guys start saying, I call BS, man. I'm getting tired of y'all arguing. So to sum this up, here's Skip's last quote on it. On this past Monday night, ahead of Shannon's departure on Tuesday, I did pull an all-nighter because I couldn't sleep a wink. I tried and I failed. I was just so keyed up, so worked up, so torn up over what was happening. I just couldn't go to sleep. Truth is, this past Tuesday, I tried to go to sleep in the afternoon. I had a hard time going to sleep even then. People are getting this twisted. No matter how Skip truly felt about Shannon and vice versa, they still love what they were doing together. Don't get it so twisted of who's wrong in the blame game or what really happened to the point where you forget that they still love doing something together. But to make it succinct and to make it simple, Shannon got tired of what was going on in the power dynamics of the show. That's with Skip Bayless and creating the show, topics with the show, Skip Bayless disrespecting them at times, and Skip Bayless also not being reprimanded from those who had greater power there because Skip Bayless knew those guys from itty bitty. Skip Bayless has been in the business so long that some of the top dog executives used to be his little homies. And that's the thing right now. And Shannon just couldn't find his way. And that's not to blame it on Shannon. Shannon was like, yo, I am the man. Skip is the man. We have to redefine how the powers are on display on this show. They couldn't come to that redefinition because Skip is still stuck in his ways, still calling LeBron phony goat, even when it doesn't matter. That lets you know he's stubborn to a fault, but to tremendous success. Respect to both of those guys wherever they shall go, because Skip, he's on an adventure on his own as well. But Shannon landing on his feet somewhere.